Hello and welcome to yet another edition of 21 Minutes with KKB. My name is Kwabena Kyenkyenhene Boateng. Today, my guest is someone who is revered in Ghana. He's well known for transforming the banking industry in the whole of Ghana and indeed even in Africa. Some way, somehow, though, all of that glory appears to be going down the drain. What are the reasons? How is he even coping? And how can you deal with the situation of starting something from the ground up, seeing it flourish so much, and then seeing it all taken away from you? Today, I speak to Prince Kofi Amoabeng, formerly of UT Bank. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us here on 21 Minutes with KKB. Like I said, today my guest is Prince Kofi Amoabeng, that man you've seen and heard a lot about. He's a happy soul. Today, he's with us here. PK, yes, sir. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. They say you're a happy soul. You're always happy.
I'm a very happy soul.
Yeah. There's a lot to talk about, particularly when we talk about UT Bank and all, but I want to start on a lighter side. Your facial hair. Why? We've known you to always have a clean shave. Of late, we don't see you shave. Why?
Well, it came by accident. Okay. During the lockdown, I was in my village. I wasn't locked down, but I couldn't come to Accra. And I would shave every morning and then just reshave and not go out. So I said, why shave? Leave it and let's see what it looks like. So I stopped shaving for about a couple of weeks. And of course, it was very odd and very uncomfortable. Like typically, I wake up in the morning, wash my face, look in the mirror, and I scare myself. But then some of my close people said, this is a new change and you look good. And I said, okay, I'll keep it for a while. So then I've kept it and I've gotten used to it. And it saves some time. And I need to also camouflage myself a little bit because I think I need a bit of privacy, and people knew my face a bit too much. So it's good. But don't you like it?
I like it though. So you're saying with this, when you step out, people don't even easily recognize you as they used to?
I mean, with the beard and even my face mask, they still call me. Even from my back, people call me. So I don't think I'm being very successful, but at least it's a new look.
Today, if you Google Prince Kofi Amoabeng on the internet, all kinds of things, all kinds of negative tags is what you see. The last story I read a moment ago was, I think someone had done an article about the story of a man who stole 100 million Ghana cedis from his customers. I mean, when you look at all of that, what comes to mind?
Well, first and foremost, I don't see most of the stories.
Okay. Why not? You don't check?
I don't follow Ghana news. I watch CNN, BBC, listen to music. So most of the news items, I don't hear them. The second thing is, I'm not even too surprised when it comes to my attention, because as a people, we are very, very evil and difficult and not trustworthy. I can use a lot of negative terms. It's only in our part of the world that you bring forth a child, educate the child gets successful, gets into a good position, and if that person should die, it's the mother or father that killed the person. It doesn't make sense, because if you want to kill your child, you could have killed the child at any point, not let them get to the helm of affairs. And it's a similar thing. I think as you chart your course, people are waiting for you to fall down, and the sort of envy and evil thoughts. So the way things turn out, it satisfied the wishes of a lot of people. What matters is not what they think or what they want to put out there, it's what is within you. And for me, knowing where I'm coming from, Kukurantummy boy and all that, and what I've done for the society and impacted lives and giving jobs and things, I think God has used me to a great purpose. And I'm very, very grateful to God for using me. And I'm sure He could use me again. So my relationship between Him and my God is so solid. And when I talk about God, some people even make joke out of it. That I don't pay tithe, I don't believe in God. If I'm not good enough as a Christian, you should pray for me You don't have
Not to condemn you.
Exactly. Because I pray for my enemies and pray for people that are down. I don't jeer at them and things like that. But that's not the way we are. So, specific to your question, one, I don't hear most of them. Two, the few that I hear, I brush them aside. It doesn't come between me and my belief in God and the world that we're in. Because most people, their understanding of the world is completely different. It's not about me, just as it's not about any particular person. It's about what we can come into the world and impact the world and change the world around us. I think that's the purpose. But
so it never gets to you?
I won't say it.
Someone you perhaps could have or might have even helped at some point in time in your life to say Prince Kofi Amoabeng is a thief.
Well, the state even charged me without dockets or any proof for stealing and money laundering, and then withdrew the charges after about a week. Yeah. So if the whole state would do it, I mean, individuals talking about Kofi Amoabeng being a thief shouldn't worry me. But let me say this. I have developed this defense mechanism where when somebody says something negative or does something negative towards me, instead of feeling upset, I say I'm disappointed. I'm only disappointed people because they should know better or they should do better, but they didn't. But I don't let it get into me for it to put me down.
At a point in time, did you think that the government could come in to take over, looking at how things were going?
Honestly, I didn't. Because the government, through Bank of Ghana, has started supporting the bank to recover and to find investors to pump in additional capital. I don't think the government would say that, listen, just obliterate UT and arrogate it to ourselves. I don't think that way.
You speak of UT Bank being sick at the time of all of these things. What were these challenges, and were you a reason why the bank was sick?
No. See, in managing any outfit, you can make mistakes. We are all fallible. Certainly, we made some mistakes.
Personally, did you make any mistakes? Do you take responsibility for majority of the mistakes?
Well, as a CEO, who else are you going to blame? At the time I was there, I mean, you had to approve for things to be done. Of course, you trust people to do what they're supposed to do in the interest of the company. Maybe you trust, even when you trust people too much and give them too much responsibility, it could be a mistake. And that was part of the mistake that I did. I think I believed too much in a lot of people, and I gave them responsibilities, and people were, having their own compromises and things. Because the one thing that brought UT down, without doubt, is the non-performing loans. Exactly. Which is ironical, because when we started, UT was the institution that was known for collecting monies, and you dare not take UT's money. So it's like we fell on our own sword. So, yes, but it's because we had rapid growth from four-man team initially, grew to be the best non-bank financial institution, moved into banking, which required more regulatory measures, and the regulator was more powerful. And then our numbers grew. When we go to the bank, we're probably about 600 odd, apart from the other companies. So it had grown to a point where we had to, along the line, we should have reinvented ourselves, as in not with the same values, principles, and everything, but to reinvent ourselves. And I think we didn't. I read a book later on after UT called, it was written by one Harari. It's called Sapiens. Okay. It says for any human endeavor, when you reach the figure of 150, you must reinvent yourself. And it fits perfectly what we should have done in UT. But we just grew and grew, and I believe that with the trust and the kind of culture that we had, we were successful all the time. But then, as the numbers grow, the culture gets diluted. And you stand thinking, yes, that culture will take you there, you imbibe people with the culture. Because one of the things that we did, which was, they say, a loan in 48 hours. That is damn risky. But you see, for you to acquire speed, you need trust. Without trust, you dare not go fast. This is a basic principle. And when we grew that fast and we said we're a bank, but still a loan in 48 hours. They were trying to push our processes and things the same way. And with other people who had come in who did not have that the values and the culture that we had. In fact, some people who came in were raw thieves who came into the bank, just ran away from the banks and came to, dilute the culture. So, yes, even in appointing those people, as the CEO who will sign that the people should appoint, I made mistakes. So mistakes, yes, but you can't develop without taking risks and making mistakes. Some of the mistakes, you look back and say, well, you could have done it different, but it's already late. But at the end of the day, if you have made mistakes, you learn from them and move on. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
So you speak of non-performing loans being one of the key things that...
It is the main thing.
The main thing that brought the bank down. A number of people have cited that particular loan, which they say exceeded the single obligor limit, the loan to Jata Cement, Ibrahim Mahama and all. Let me start by asking this. Do you regret giving Ibrahim Mahama that loan?
No, I don't, no. You see, I don't know why I should be interested in that particular loan, but it's good. Now, Ibrahim Mahama was our client way, way back. He was taking various facilities and paid. Then he came to us to say that now that we're a bank, could we help? Because he wanted to set up a cement plant. And he insisted I should go and have a look because it's just next door to Dangote's cement plant. That was interesting. So I went to see his site with my team and then saw Dangote's plant, which was just next door. And there were at least 30 articulated trucks that were stranded, waiting for their load. And I was sitting there and thinking, here we are with a cement factory by a foreigner, and if a Ghanaian can do a cement factory, same location, and the demand is insatiable. So I remember the fact that I told ourselves, we are not deep enough to be able to fund a cement factory. But I looked at it and I said, okay, and this is something that we do all the time. You call it bridge financing. We can take you to a point, and then the institutions with deeper pockets, deeper capital can take off. Especially when it's now stabilized, everybody can see the end result. So that was our aim. So we started by giving monies to clear land and do a few things, import a few things within our capital limits. Now, when it got to cut matters short, when it got to the point where it's like we've hit the single obligor limit, we were in a dilemma. One, if we don't put in extra monies, then what we put in probably will not be recoverable. But we're limited by the regulator. We can't put in more monies. So we went to the regulator and said, this is the situation in which we are. And we applied for a waiver of the single obligor limit. And that's why that case has never come up, because then Bank of Ghana actually went to inspect the place and then gave the single obligor limit waiver. Now, let me also try to educate the people. The reason why I think the big banks or financial institutions did not take over was because his brother was president. So he was a politically exposed person. And banks will not deal with you. UT, that has never been an issue, maybe because we are being naive. Because we had helped people in all sizes all the time. All sides, MPP, NDC, as we're growing up, we served everyone. So it's never been any of our policies. So that is how come we got a single obligor waiver, and then we had to put a bit more money. But that, because the factory wasn't finished and no one was picking it up, it means the money got stuck. It was a good loan. To cut matters short, by the time the bank even went down, if you value Jata Cement against the loan, the Jata Cement was worth a lot more than the loan that Ibrahim Mahama had.
So you have no regrets there?
No, we took a decision. At the time, we considered all the factors, and we felt it was something worthwhile, plus sentiments that wanted to do something for a Ghanaian and so on and so forth. And it wasn't a bad business. It's still not, I don't know where it is now, but
Actually, that was what I was going to ask. So where is it now? What is the stage now?
I'm not UT Bank, unless maybe I want to pass there and ask Ibrahim what is happening. But at this stage...
But have you spoken to Ibrahim since?
Interesting question. Not really. I called his chief operating officer has called me a couple of times to ask me how I'm doing and things like that. But me and Ibrahim, I don't think we've talked directly. He's not my enemy at all.
Yeah, but when things were getting to that point, I would assume that, because yes, you say you had a lot of non-performing loans. This is one person who had too much of your money in there. Perhaps you tried reaching him to say, you know what?
No, we did. We did several. The whole board of UT invited him and his team at least 5 times to sit at the board meeting with all board members looking to ways and means of getting the money. So it's not as if me and Kofi Amoabeng will go to you and say, why is the money? No. The whole board, because the approval process includes the board, and the whole board was aware, Bank of Ghana was aware, and everything.
And nothing still came of it?
That's exactly what happened. I mean, the amount was big, so it's not as if you can dig it up easily. You know, the best way was to find another financier outside or local to actually bail him out.
Let's now talk a bit about the issue of the 5 million Ghana cedis we were told was transferred also from someone's account to your account, and that was contained in the Borders report. All kinds of, perhaps you can clarify for us.
It's a very simple matter. I sold my house after I left the bank. And at the time, the bank's liquidity was still a bit not stable. And if Kofi Amoabeng should sell his house, where do I put the money? If I don't even put it at UT Bank, I mean, nobody will understand. So I paid the money that I got from the sale of the property, I paid it to UT Bank. Now, the guy who bought the property was a client of UT, and he had finished paying his debt. In fact, it's because he had been paid by the government, he had excess money. That's how come he had money to buy my house. So he had paid off the loan and paid me my money. Because after he paid off the loan, he came to buy my house and paid my money, and I put the proceeds in UT Bank. Now, the report that you're talking about said that I had given...
You had advanced a loan to him. The bank had advanced a loan to him, Kofi Jobs.
While he was owing...
Yes, and then when he was making payments to the bank, you diverted those funds to your personal account.
It's rubbish. I don't even understand. I don't even know how they can coin it like that. But the simple fact is that he paid off the bank's loan. He bought my house with the excess money from the business that he had. I took that money and put 5 million in my bank account at UT Bank. And the Boulders report, the guy who wrote it came to me. He knew the house. He came to me. I explained. I said, that house where you used to come, that's the house I sold. That's where the proceeds went. I don't understand why he wrote that kind of report. But of course, my charge in the court doesn't include that. Because I'm sure they saw the facts, because they called Kofi Job and interviewed him and things.
When you sit back and you reflect on all of these recent happenings, I mean, going back and forth, Yoko, the CID, courts, and all, do you ask yourself whether it was even worth it starting this bank?
You see, I'll get a bit spiritual, religious about it. Do you know the people who really suffer in the Bible are all the people that God really loves? That's true. I mean, the severest was his son. And look at the rest. The ones that he loved, they suffered the most. So really, I think God loves me and made me strong. That's why he called me a happy soul. Made me strong to absorb these things. If I have to go to Yoko, sometimes I go there and I sit for maybe 3 hours. I go with a book and I read my book. Whenever they finish with the interview, I walk out. And I don't feel being frustrated too much. At some point, I was advised to leave Ghana. I said, no. I can't live anywhere in this world apart from Ghana. So, and I have what it takes to, I look at people and say, well, for whatever reason that you're doing that, God knows why you should do that. So I have to be strong. And being strong is about keeping faith with your God and not disappointing him. You don't just capitulate because there's some small trouble. You have to say that, yes, I have a pillar, I have someone that I can depend on so I can go through it. And that's what it is.
On a typical day, when you walk into the CID office or Yoko, what happens? What are the kinds of questions they even ask you? Do they really even understand the banking sector?
They don't. That is part of the problem. That's the irritation bit, but you have to take your time because they're supposed, that is what the state has. And the state is supposed to use them to expose misconduct and malfeasance and whatever. So if they ask you a stupid question, you still have to bear with it and try and educate and let them see your point. At one point, I remember I even suggested to Yoko that they should get a banker and accountant on the committee, so it will be easier for me to explain.
Did they not find it offensive, you suggesting they didn't know their job?
It's a fact.
We are in a political season, so I'd like to ask this political question. I don't know whether you'd want to answer too, but so a lot of these politicians are out campaigning. When, for instance, I watch and see John Mahama on his campaign rally and all, he talks a lot about banks that have been collapsed under the NPP, or the NPP will suggest that they were rather consolidating these banks and making the banking institutions stronger. So, of course, they all spin it whichever way suits them best. But John Mahama, for instance, has suggested that for a number of these banks that have been collapsed, should he win power, he'll find a way to revive them, to bring them back, to return them to their owners and all. When you hear such things, does it give you any kind of hope?
Not really. For me, it sounds good to the ears, but the process to do it is not going to be easy. I can't see it.
It's not realistic.
It can be done, but I don't know how. Listen, let's take UT. UT Bank was assumed or arrogated by the government. And the assets, that's loans, physical assets, properties, whatever, were all taken over by GCB. And GCB decided which ones they wanted and which one they didn't want. What they didn't want, they gave to PwC as the receiver. And GCB has collected some of the loans, given some more loans, probably sold some of the assets. It's gone. So you can't give UT Bank in any form or shape to the owners of UT Bank. The only thing you can do is to say that maybe apply for a license, I'll give you a license. And you need 400 million cedis to start a new bank, even with a license on the table. So it's not clear what can be done. This is the situation with the UT Bank. The other banks, I don't know their true situation. But if they were also assumed, and as far as I'm concerned, some of them are in court, I don't know what.
Unibank, for instance.
Unibank has been assumed and merged with some other banks as part of the CBG. Yeah. I don't know how you're going to go to CBG and separate the assets, and this used to be Unibank assets. I don't see it. So if you are in court, you could probably get some reparation or something, some payment for wrongful doing. That's what you can do. But to get the bank back in any form or shape, I don't see it.
So the promises being made by the former president now are not realistic promises?
I don't know what they can do about it. Let's say I don't know. But with some banks, I'm sure they can do something about it.
But not with yours.
But with UT Bank, I don't see it.
So the cash cow is gone, essentially. UT Holdings is walking wounded. So what does Kofi Amoabeng do on a regular day?
I'm a pensioner. I'm 68. But the way we relate, you tend to think, and even me all the time, I tend to think I'm the same age as you. But I'm 68. And so that's why I'm sure I'm 68 is that I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I am past my pension age. All I have to do is to keep healthy, because if you are not healthy, God is not going to use you because you're not material to be used. So I exercise, I play golf, I go to the office, but take it lightly, because you can't stay at home and maybe you want a glass of wine before you realize you're a drunkard. So I dress up and go to the office. Presumably, I'm going to work. I may not do enough, but I'm looking at other things, and I want to start a few ventures and see, mostly to impact the younger ones and other companies.
I knew you were spiritual. I don't know about you being religious.
You see, it's good. It's a good topic. The thing is, I view for example, prayer as a training exercise. God doesn't need your prayers. I know that for a fact. He has 7.8 billion people. You think he cares about what one person is praying for what? But the prayer is good for you. As you pray, it's like a soldier preparing for war, a boxer training, so that when you step out and you meet certain circumstances, you know the pledge you made to God, and then you do the right thing. Because if you don't do the right thing, you suffer the consequence.
So in the morning, when, say, you have a court hearing and you are getting ready for court, what's the prayer you say?
A typical prayer, just to thank God that I'm alive.
And that you're going to court? You never know the outcome.
I don't even mention court. I said, and I asked for His grace and His protection, as He's always giving me in abundance, and ask Him to continue to bless me. I don't mention court.
Does the thought of you ever going to jail cross your mind, and does it scare you? Yeah. Does it scare you?
It doesn't scare me. Human beings are in jail. Don't forget I'm an ex-soldier. I've slept in trenches, in the bush, at dawn, whatever before. And prison is made for human beings. So nothing really is going
to... But some would say, I mean, you have lived at a certain level
in
your life for a long time.
What's special about me? God decided to raise you to that level. If God decides that He wants to bring you down for whatever reason to teach people some lesson and things like that, you should stand by it and have the strength to go according to His will. Otherwise, I don't know what you mean by you are a servant of God.
If you have any last words, we'll take them now.
What I would say is that one thing that makes my heart bleed with this coming election is that I think we are in a very difficult situation where we have to choose between the two major parties. And a lot of dust have been thrown against each of them in form of corruption, nepotism, all sorts of things. And therefore, I pity us as Ghanaians that we have to make a choice. But we have to, one way or the other. And
ideally, none of the two parties is best for Ghana now, you say?
No, I'm not saying that none of them is okay for Ghana. Okay. What I'm saying is that knowing where they're coming from, what I want to hear from them that they are not saying is about the change in heart and the kind of values they are bringing in this time. Don't promise us classrooms and roads and hospitals. Don't. Tell us that you're coming to respect the people and to lead with the right cultures, mainly respecting everybody and making sure that you're not going to be corrupt, you're going to be transparent, you're not going to take over the institutions, but give the people some kind of dignity.
Some have suggested that a candidate campaigned on zero tolerance for corruption. They not being corrupt, they will not do family and friends. They've come to...
So ask them how. Do you know that to change a culture is very difficult? Everybody knows that. But you can change a culture. The only way to change a culture is to change from the very top. You don't need a team. You need one person at the very top. And he should live it. And he should sanction and make sure everybody follows it.
Some say the president is incorruptible, but a number of his appointees...
I will say something. Take it as you like. Okay. Oh, Kofi Amoabeng. The wife of an armed robber is an armed robber. In other words, if you surround yourself with armed robbers and you are not sanctioning anybody, something is wrong somewhere.
But the president has set up committees to investigate almost every issue of corruption that has been leveled against any of his employees, any of his appointees and all. So is that not to suggest he's doing something about the corruption?
If that is good enough.
No, I'm asking.
If that's good enough, then Kwabena, let's end it. I don't think it's good enough.
What more do you want to...
You see, if for example, your immediate subordinate is accused of something, at least let him stay away. Don't move him to another place. And certainly don't let him stay there. Because if you want effective investigation, you should get him out of the place and put a team there to investigate, and investigate as quickly as possible, not to compromise in justice, but as quickly as possible, and come out with a result. You have 4 years to run the term to run the country. If investigations are going to take more than 4 years, it's injustice.
Prince Kofi Amoabeng, thank you so much for your time today on 21 Minutes with KKB. PK, as many call him, Prince Kofi Amoabeng. I just love the man. I don't know why. And he likes to dance a lot too. So for those of you who have not seen him dance, just go on to YouTube and just key his name in there. You see him dancing, you know, sometimes with a lot of very, very pretty ladies everywhere.
That's the one.
Well, that has been another edition of 21 Minutes with KKB. My name is Kwabena Kyenkyenhene Boateng. I'll see you soon again, hopefully with another guest you're expecting.